The thing about a place that is already dying is that nobody notices when it starts to bleed. Ranwick Station was a transit hub that had been slowly swallowed by the decades since anyone needed it. The trains still came, 3 times a day more or less. The shops along the mezzanine level, a pharmacy, a newsstand, a sandwich counter, a lottery kiosk, had been there so long they had taken on the quality of furniture. Nobody thought about them. You passed them the same way you passed a coat rack. I had worked the newsstand for going on 6 years, long enough that the transit police knew my name, long enough that I had a specific stool behind the counter that nobody else sat on, and a specific way of arranging the magazine rack that I had never explained to anyone because I assumed no one would care. 6 years is not a long time in most lives. At Ranwick Station, it was a generation. The other vendors knew each other the way people know each other, when they share a space but not a world. Nods. First names. Occasional complaints about the heating or the pigeon situation near the east entrance. There was Petra from the pharmacy, who wore the same green cardigan every Tuesday. There was an older man who ran the lottery kiosk with a sports radio station playing on a small speaker under the counter. I never learned his name, which I have thought about a great deal since. And then there was Halverson. He managed the property on behalf of whoever the current ownership group was. That changed often. Halverson did not. He was the kind of man who had built himself an importance that nobody around him had agreed to. He walked the mezzanine twice a day with a clipboard, said things like operational synergy and footfall optimization, and watched the foot traffic with an expression that never looked like satisfaction. It always looked like appetite. He never made eye contact with you when he was talking to you. His eyes went slightly past your face, to a point somewhere behind your head, as if he was watching for something over your shoulder. And whenever a conversation did not go the way he wanted it to, he would do this thing with the clipboard. A small repositioning, both hands, deliberate, like he was resetting something inside himself. I thought he was just a difficult man with a mediocre job and too much pride about it. I filed him under harmless and did not look again. That was the last mistake I made before the morning everything stopped being ordinary. It was a Tuesday in February, the kind of cold that does not ask permission. I arrived at 6:43, know the exact time, because I always check the clock above the east entrance, a habit from my first week that I never dropped. The pharmacy was dark, the lottery kiosk was shuttered, the sandwich counter had its gate down. I thought nothing of it. I went to my stall, unlocked the gate, began arranging the papers. That was when I noticed the smell, not blood. Not at first. Something underneath blood. Something older. The way a drain smells in a building that has not been used. Something stagnant and metallic and wrong in a way that takes a moment to name. I stood there with a stack of morning papers in my hands, and I could not make myself move toward the pharmacy. Petra's green cardigan was on the floor outside the gate. Just the cardigan, just lying there in the middle of the corridor like something dropped in a hurry, or arranged. I could not tell which, and I still cannot. I backed up. I reached for my phone. No signal. I had full signal every morning at that exact spot. I had for 6 years. It was simply gone. The PA system clicked on. Halverson's voice came through it with a clarity that told me he was close, that he was not calling from some distant room. He sounded like a man who had been waiting a long time to say something out loud. He explained it calmly. He had acquired the property, all of it. The transition required certain consolidations. He thanked us for our years of service. The exits were secured. His team was already in position. There was one condition under which a vendor would be allowed to leave the building, be the last one standing. Then he said something I have never fully been able to explain. He said, "This is not a game. Games have rules. This is a preference. I prefer one of you. I have not yet decided which one." The speaker clicked off. I am going to tell you what happened over the next 4 hours. But I need you to understand something first. The part that stays with me is not the violence. Violence has a shape, you can describe it. What I cannot describe is the quality of the sound inside that building after the PA went silent. A transit hub at 6 in the morning is never completely quiet. There is always the ambient hum of ventilation, the distant percussion of the trains, the small living sounds of a space that expects people to arrive. That morning, all of that was gone. The building sounded like it was holding its breath, and the only thing that could make a building sound that way was if every living thing inside it had stopped moving at the same moment. Then I heard someone running, far away, then closer, then a sound I will not describe here, then nothing. I found the older man from the lottery kiosk in the service corridor behind the mezzanine. He was alive. He was behind a water heater with his small radio pressed to his chest, turned down so low I could not hear it. Only feel the faint vibration when I put my hand near it. He looked at me the way people look at each other when the category of experience they are in has no name yet. We stayed there for 2 hours. We did not speak. At some point I thought about asking his name. Then I thought about how strange it would be to ask that now, in this particular silence. I did not ask. When the police came, they came from above. A transit officer had noticed the signal outage and called it in. They breached the east entrance at 8:17. The official count was 11 vendors. 3 survived. The older man from the lottery kiosk was one of them. His name was Aurelio. I know that now. Halverson was found in his office, which means he never left it, which means he watched everything from cameras, which means the men who moved through the building that morning were not acting on real-time instruction from him. They had been told what to do before any of us arrived. They had a plan that did not require him to be present. That is the part I returned to. Not what happened, why it was already prepared, and for how long it had been prepared, and who, among the people I nodded at every morning for 6 years, already knew. I do not have an answer. I am not certain I want one. But sometimes, late, when I am in a public space and I hear a PA system click on before anyone speaks, I stop whatever I am doing. I wait and I listen for the particular quality of silence that comes after the voice stops. You will know it if you hear it. I hope you never do.